I am starting my free power hour, how to get back in your power right now. And I am doing this every month, starting at the second Friday of each month. And this month, I am talking about key two, which is own your story and transform your life. And these are the keys of the 10 keys to compassion, falling madly in love with yourself, exactly where you are, as you are, who you are in this moment. And you may be feeling angry, and you may be feeling frustrated, and you may be feeling scared to death with everything that's going on in the world. So part of what I'm doing with my process is my give back is helping people utilize these 10 keys to helping you deal with everything that is in your life. And whether you're watching this on a replay or you're jumping on and connecting with me on Zoom, or you're catching this in a replay on live or recorded, live or Memorex, for those of you that remember that saying. um, what we're going to talk about today is owning our story. So before I talk about this key, I need to have a disclaimer. Danger, danger, Will Robinson. This is one of the most powerful keys in the kingdom of the Inner Family Zoo and of my characters and of my songs and all that I am bringing to my compassion movement to the world. It's like a knife. Whoa, 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 whoa. And you can't utilize this key from your bum ba ba super 7 year old. And for those of you who know me, you'll know what that is. And for those of you who don't, I'm going to back it up, back it up, back it up, and tell you about the Inner Family Zoo. So, the Inner Family Zoo is based on the emotional inner states that can feel like they're controlling your life, controlling your kids, controlling your business, controlling your relationships, controlling everything about you. Like, do you ever feel like you run into a person that looks like an adult, but is acting completely and totally like a child? And maybe that child is you, or maybe the child is the other. But regardless of the fact, I call this my little B, my little inner precious angelic, sometimes 3 year old. And the 3 year old is what most people in the world talk about when they're talking about the inner child, the young part of us. And in my world, this is the most vulnerable. Sometimes it can be even pre-verbal. And when you're talking about owning your story, if you are in your inner 3 year old, forget about it. Forget about it, because your inner 3 year old doesn't have the functioning ability to even hear what I'm about to say. Your inner 3 year old is the part of you that's just a pile of emotions, a puddle of mush, big, big, big energy. And the little precious inner 3 year old is a huge light within all of our humanity. So it's really critical to love this little precious inner 3 year old up, even though sometimes it is embarrassing. It's like you really don't want anybody to see you when you're in this emotional breakdown. And hi. And so welcome, welcome. So what I'm doing with this emotional 3 year old is we bring in our bum ba bum super duper 7 year old, this emotional state, this defense mechanism, this aspect of ourselves that tries to look good and get it right and be right, sometimes even a little bit righteous, perfectionistic, maybe even a little anal. And the super 7 year old is the part of us that is organizing the world, planning the world, getting the dishes done, handling the kids, controlling everybody else's porch, getting on everybody else's porch, telling them what to do, when to do it, how to do it, where to do it. That's the precious angel, super duper 7 year old. And then there's another developmental state, defense mechanism that comes in to take care of the super 7-year-old. And that's the psht, psht. That's the inner teenager, the bodacious, the outrageous, the part of us that is really trying to be our authentic self, stay in our passion, be our power, and telling everybody sometimes what we think, what we want to do. Hi, Janet. Welcome, welcome. So I'm doing a how do you get back in your power live every on the second Friday of every month at 11:30 Pacific, 1:30 Central. And I'm talking about this month is the key 2 of the 10 keys to compassion, which is own your story and transform your life. Key 2. And I was just telling about the inner family zoo, the 3-year-old, the 7-year-old, and the inner teenager. Great to see you, Janet. Great to see you. And so if you have a particular question, Janet, put it out there. How to get back in your power with the 3-year-old, how to get back in your power with your 7-year-old, how to get back in power with your inner teen, or if you have an external kid, feel free, bring that in the mix too. So when we get these 3 emotional inner states, the 3, the 7, and the teen, there's another character that I call the loving wise self, Dr. B, the beingness. And this is the part that holds and contains and loves all the other emotional states. So the highest self, the loving wise self, is omnipotent, all-knowing, omniscient, completely caring for wherever we are, whenever we are, and gives us this container of compassion. So when we start talking about own your story, if you're doing it from the 3-year-old or the teenager, you may create a massive mess on your hands. If you do it from curiosity, like, what is my story? What am I coming up with? What am I telling myself? Hey, Adeline, welcome, welcome. And in the owning your story, you have to be in a state where you're not like in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you can't breathe, or you're starving, or you can't sleep, you can't get to your cognitive abilities on this one. So one of the aspects that's really key of this month is to make sure you have every part of you cared for. So your little 3-year-old wants to feel safe. And that means physically safe, emotionally safe. And that's easier said than done right now in the world with everything that's going on. But you can create that safety for yourself. You can get water in the bathtub. You can make sure you have a backup plan. You can be connected to everybody that you know that you need to be connected to. And this is a time when everybody's inner 3-year-old is having huge fears and emotions and reactions, that we really come together and we have each other's back, and we come back to compassion, and we come back to love, and we come back to grace with each other's humanity and all the things that sometimes we do to step in it. So, curiosity is my thing, Janet says. Play and playful approach. Love this transmission of all our parts. Thank you, Janet. Thank you. And if you want to jump on Zoom, you can actually jump on Zoom with me. And I'll be doing this every month on the second Friday of the month. And we'll be going on each key. And I wanted to also bring up, I have songs that are related to each of my keys. I have 19 songs I've created. And if you go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Beth CP for Compassionate Parenting, Dr. Beth CP, you can get to my YouTube channel and you have access to podcasts. You have access to prior recordings. I actually have a podcast with my dad and I, and some of the stories we have about each other. And I also have all my songs. And you can also get my songs on all of the Spotify, Siri, and all those other places as well. You ask for Beth Hulbert songs. And then I have characters, and I have 13 characters I've developed, and I call these my emotional compassion characters. And the character that I'm going to talk about today is Bebop Bunny. And Bebop Bunny is no, no, no. I'm sorry. Got that messed up. It's Beetleo the butterfly. So Beetleo the butterfly had a story, which is the story is about nobody believed that she, when she was a caterpillar, that she would ever fly. And she was like, I will fly. You just hide and watch. You just get behind me and I'm going to fly. And so part of Own Your Story is stepping into your power, stepping into your greatness, choosing what you choose to believe about what you want to live into and becoming the conscious creator of what you want to create for your life. And where this becomes really, really powerful as a parent is you have the power to impact the story of your children. So if your story is my kids are always blah, 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 my kids never blah, blah, blah. Uh, if I have a smarty pants child, or I have a child that, you know, never does this or always does that, or believes I believe this about my child. Whatever you say, you get to be right. So, one of my favorite stories on owning your story about your child is that the child is actually was started making mistakes and started moving into the teen years and started becoming our own inner teenager, and the parents and the grandparents and the teachers and everybody started calling this child smarty pants, and started calling this child bossy pants and all kind of pants. And I said, freeze, hold it, change the story. You have one of the next world leader children. You have a next world leader kid. Enroll everybody into calling your child next world leader. And it was in that moment, and it was at that time, that what happened is she became part of the student council. Her grades went from D's and F's to B's and A's. She started to become leadership around the room. This can happen everywhere. If you're a teacher and you have one of the most difficult children in your class, and that child is like, oh my God, they are the troublemaker. That's your story. So flip it to, this child is the next world leader. Put that child in the front, put him in charge of everything, because I can't do two things at once. I can't have a belief that I'm terrible and horrible and bad, and that I'm going to fly and I'm amazing and I'm awesome. You just can't have these two things at once. I'm going to give you an example of this. I want you guys to do this. Um, uh, get your smile as big as you can smile, like this, and put your eyebrows up. And then I want you to say, I am depressed. I am depressed. See if you can do it and see how it feels. Like, I'm depressed. And make sure you get your cheekbones up. Make sure you have your place in a way where you can totally feel it. And what you're doing with this is neurologically, you're changing your body. And you can do this through dance. You can do this through music. You can do this through movement. You can do this through, like, there's tons of ways to act yourself into a new way of thinking. And with owning your story, you're giving yourself, hey Helen, you're giving yourself a way to actually become what you want to live into, not what you don't want to live into. So, one of the ways this works is, if I look for purple, I'm going to find purple. Oh, here's some purple, scatter kindness. If I look for black, I'm going to find black, and I'll find it all over the place. So, whatever you look for, you get to find. Whatever you believe, you will live yourself into that. Hey, Bubbling Beth. Yes, yes, yes. So good to see you, Helen. So, what I'm talking about are my 10 keys to passion, compassion, and this month I'm on key 2, which is Own Your Story and Transform Your Life, based on Beetleo the butterfly. Everybody said she would never fly. She said hide and watch, and she is soaring and flying high. So, what are you? Are you living into a story? Bridget, what do you know, Bridget? What's happening? So, are you living into a story that is a story from your past? Or are you living into a story that you are living into, transforming into, and want to be what you're enrolling everybody in? So if you're telling everybody, my kids suck, my life sucks, I suck, I'm horrible, I'm ugly, I'm old, the world's horrible. Like if you are living into that belief, you will start to notice everything around you to prove you right. So this is part of the Own Your Story and Transform Your Life. Now, some of you are just going to get it. You're like, oh yeah, I know this concept. Got it. Bye, Beth. See you later. Some of you might be like me. Ornery is all get out. And just because someone says so doesn't make it so. So years ago, I was in a landmark class and they had us write out our story, and mine was a tired old story. It was bad, it was gruesome. I mean, I was enrolling everybody in my drama rama and my victimhood, my negativity. And at the end of the night, there were about 300 people there, and everybody's laughing hysterically about their stories. I was so significant. I was so serious. I was holding on to mine like a dog on a bone. It wasn't just a story, it was the fact. It was my life. I believed in it, and I needed everybody else to believe in it. So I had a choice at the end of the night. I either had to fake laugh, which, by the way, that was my theme song for 0 to 30. Fake it till you make it, baby. Fake it till you make it. Or I could go into my second theme song, which was authenticity or bust. I opted for authenticity or bust. And so what happened with authenticity or bust is I went home with my tail between my legs and I wrote a book that I just published last year that is called Reclaim Your Sanity and Transform Your Life. Reclaim Your Sanity. And it's a about a 25 step process. It tells you all about my inner family zoo so that you understand what's the emotional state of your little emotional inner 3-year-old developmental self, what's the emotional state of your super duper 7-year-old emotional self, and what does that part need, and what's the emotional state of your inner teen part of yourself, your bodacious, your outrageous part, and then how do you bring in the loving wise self to hold all these parts. And the 3-year-old needs safety, security, love. I just need a little love when I'm in my 3-year-old. I need to snuggle buggle my bear. That's one of my characters, snuggle buggle bear. And the 7-year-old is the part of us that's looking for doing it right, getting accolades, being a good girl, being organized, getting my doctoral degree, getting my licensure, getting my books out, blah, 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 blah. Super 7-year-old, structured, get it done. I would say, at least pre pandemic, about 80% of the world lived in the super 7-year-old. I think now some of us are learning to embrace our inner teen and like, I don't want to go to work, I'll just work from home. So the what the super 7-year-old needs is to get to win with myself. Like, how do I get to win? Dr. Beth, how do we win? And you get to create a story, you get to create the rules on how you get to win. So, for example, my rules are Dr. Beth rule number 1, nobody gets to be wrong, not even me. Now, I know it's a made up rule. Take it, steal it, don't use it, call me crazy. I don't care. It works for my inner family zoo. Nobody gets to be wrong in my world order. Rule number 2, because I always made myself and others wrong. Rule number 2, nobody gets to be wrong, not even me, even when I'm making myself and others wrong. So that's rule number 2. Rule number 3 that I made up, this is my own story, I made it all up. Rule number 3 is if I knew better emotionally, like if I wasn't in my little 3-year-old right now, then I'd handle this. But I'm not in my 3-year-old. Hi, Karen. Welcome, welcome. So when I'm in my little baby 3-year-old, I am needing some safety and security. When I'm in my super duper 7-year-old self, I'm needing structure. I'm needing organization. I'm needing rules. I need to win. I need to have a win, win, win or no deal. And when I'm in my mamma jamma, bodacious, outrageous inner teen, I need to be authentic. I need to be full of life. I need to be passionate. I need to be in my purpose. I need to speak my truth. So, where are you today? Are you in your 3-year-old, 7-year-old teenager, or are you in the witness, the loving wise self that's actually holding all of these emotional states and helping you stay safe, helping you get to win, and helping you feel like, I got this. I got this. So that's what the Inner Family Zoo does. And in this month's key with Beatlio the butterfly, what we're doing is we're owning our story and transforming our lives. And as we own our stories, it gives us the chance, the story, I can either turn it up or I can turn it down. If I'm a victim and I don't own my story, I have no power. So again, this is all made up. Take what works, leave the rest. But if you are sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired of your tired old story, one of the things I say is, are you willing to be wrong? wrong, wrong. Just willing. Like, I don't think I am, just by the way, but I'm willing. And when I'm willing to be wrong, it gives me the door open that I can step into my greatness. I can step into what I want to create next. It gives me the possibility to be a co-conscious creator of my life. And for me, I like power. I like power within myself. And one of the ways I give my power to myself is I own what's happening in my life. My life is happening for me and not to me. Even if whatever, 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 even when all the stuff. Not like it's the truth, just because it gets me back in my power. I take my yo yo back. So that is owning your story and transforming your life. I've given you a taste of the bees. And what I normally do on my power hours is I actually have people come on and we share and we talk about this is working and this is not working. Great idea, Dr. Beth, but how do you use it? Or, yeah, I can see what you're saying, but I'm stuck in the mud. So, whatever the case may be, the power hours are ways to get back in your power. And on Tuesdays, I do my family power hour at noon Pacific, 2 o'clock Central. And then on the second and the fourth Tuesday, I also have another one at 6 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Central. And on the family power hour, I deal with things like um, relationships with siblings, either your siblings or your children's siblings, or relationships with your parents or your kids' relationship with you, or your relationship with your kids or spouses. So the family power hour is anything that's the most intimate, emotional family relationships, because that's where it all goes down. So we can usually hold it together with our super 7-year-old when we're at the grocery store, usually, and when we're driving, usually, and when we're doing whatever we're doing, usually. And when it comes to families, that's when everything goes out the window. That's when we lose our power. It's like your mom can just give you that one look and you lose your marbles. That's the how do we get back in power with that? And so that's what I talk about. What's your story? Your mom's what's your story? And one of the stories I have about somebody that triggers me is they're telling on themselves. So you talking bad about me, I'm 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 like, "Huh, I'm very interested in that." I look at, is there any part of me that's believing it? And then I'm looking at the other part of me, which is, um, I wonder if that's actually happening for them inside or for them to others. So, like, if somebody is saying, "You're yelling at me," I'm like, wow, I really get that. It seems like how I'm talking right now feels like yelling to you. Inside, I'm thinking, You're the one yelling at me. You're telling on yourself. Okay, so that's an example that does not come out loud. That's on the inner system because one of the things that you'll get in some of my later keys is not to talk about whatever's going on in your inner family zoo on somebody else's porch, but to own and keep your own porch clean and clear and loved up. Because when you get on somebody else's porch, sometimes to the moon, Alice, they can kick you right back. And now you got to clean up their porch and your porch. So, yes, Karen, speaking of taking back your yo-yo, one of the ways I actually had a yo-yo, a Dr. Beth yo-yo for a long time years ago. I need to get some more of those made, Andrea Casella. And so what happens is when you are putting somebody in your power, you can say, here, I'm a victim to what you just said. And it's basically you hand them your yo-yo, you hand them your power, you hand them your energy, and then they can do whatever they want with it. They can blow smoke up your skirt and say, "Oh, you're the best," and then you feel good. And then they can say, "You are a horrible human being. You are terrible," and now you feel bad. And then they can take you on a walk like a dog and just completely have your head spinning around. Or they can just spin the yo-yo round and round and round. You don't know what's going on. So my question is, do you want your freaking yo-yo back? Because you're the one that gave the person the yo-yo. You're the one that gave them your power. So again, my story, willing to be wrong. Are you willing to be wrong in order to get your power back? So does anybody have any questions? I'm so glad to see whoever's showing up. Thanks for dropping by. You have any questions, Karen? Adeline, you have any questions? Feel free to put it in the chat. Well, if there are no questions, I'm going to wrap this puppy up. And I am going to say, if you're ever interested in coming and checking out any of the power hours, the Family Power on Tuesday, or the Success Driven Women Power Hour on Wednesday night at 5 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Central, and that's for bodacious, outrageous, super duper 7-year old women that are extremely successful in the world. And inside, they are feeling like, oh, I just hate it. I don't feel good about myself. When do I ever get my turn? Yes, that's right, Karen. Nobody gets to be wrong, not even me. My story, my made up story. And if your story is working for you, then keep it. If your story's working for you, keep it. And by the way, Karen, I do talk out of both sides of my mouth. Depending upon, am I talking from my inner 3-year old? I just feel so sad. I feel so, or my super 7-year old. I'm trying to do this right. I am so trying to be a good girl. Or am I talking from my inner teen? Whatever. Take a pill. Get out of my face. Or am I talking from my loving wise self, knowing that you are a mirror reflection of me and we're all connected and we're all one and we've got this. So, is it okay to be wrong or not okay? Well, here's the thing, Karen. You get to make that story up. My story is it's okay to be wrong. What's your story? So, my story is I'm willing to be wrong. And many times when I say that, I mean, just honestly, I don't think I am. I don't think I'm wrong. I think I'm right. But, and never say but when I'm willing to be wrong, it opens up the door for me to learn something new. It opens up the door for me to see something in a way I haven't seen before. So I'm holding on to my expectation. I'm holding on to my belief. I'm holding on to my intention while at the same time, this is what I call yes and, while at the same time, I'm willing to look at it another way. I'm willing to be wrong. So hopefully that makes sense. And if there are any other questions, let me know. And then the other power hour I have is on Fridays, and I do a Coach the Pros. This is for therapists, coaches, thought leaders, anybody that's out in the world that would like to utilize these concepts in their businesses with their clients and learn how to Dr. Beth somebody. So that those are my power hours, where you get back in your power. And then I have one more, and it's the Reclaim Your Sanity and Transform Your Life, which is based on my book. And I do that one like on a 2 day intensive, or I also do it in an 8 week course. And that one I help you guys go step by step through the process. If you're like me and you're a little bit um, holding your story on tight and it's not even a story, it's just the truth, and you're not willing to let it go, you're holding on like a dog on a bone. And one of the examples I use, one of the ways they catch monkeys in the wilderness, supposedly researchers say, not sure about that, but they put food in a bucket, and then the monkey gets the food, and then they're caught, and all they have to do is let go of the food, and they're free. And that's what it's like when you hold on to a story that is no longer serving you. I was working with this one father who had a story about his child, and it was just horrific. The story was, my child is sucks. My child, I mean, I can't even repeat the words that were said about this child. And I'm like, wow, I have a completely different view of your daughter. She is amazing. She's gorgeous. She's powerful. She's one of the most next world leader kids I've ever met. And the dad said, "Well, she's just completely blowing smoke up your skirt. You are completely getting snowed." And I said, "You know what? I'm willing to be wrong about that. I'm just wondering, do you want to be right, or do you hope I'm right?" And he said to me, "Of course I hope you're right." Okay, then let me be right and see the greatness in your kid. See the greatness in yourself. And I get what you're saying, Karen. There are things that are wrong, like in the world. This is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. I get it. And from a super 7-year-old point of view, black, white, right, wrong, yes, no, yes, 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 I got no arguments with you. From owning your story and transforming your life, if you just hope whatever that super 7-year-old belief is wrong, this is where magic happens. This is where transformation can actually transmute you to a whole new way of being. I've seen it happen. I've been doing this for over 30 years, 40 years, if you count all my corporate work. So, anyway, I am DrBeth.com, and I am going to be doing this every month on the second Friday of the month. If anybody wants to join the Zoom call and talk to me and meet me one-on-one and ask questions, do that. I'm also going to be doing it as a live as well. So thank you so much for showing up. If you watch this after the fact, hello, I miss you. I'm so glad that you're here. Stay in touch, be connected, and let's talk. I'm Dr. Beth.com. Bye. Love you, Karen.